But I remember going to the law library, and as I walk in, I asked the lady, the librarian, I'm like, I want everything to do with heart disease and anything to do with heart disease. So she chose me. So I walk upstairs, and there's this slew of books, all manner of heart disease and heart whatever. And so that's all I do. I go there and I look among all this, and I think I picked like 3 or 5 books, and I came with those books home. And there's one book, it was a red book, I can even see with a big heart and a lot of fruits on the front, in the front of it. And I was like, okay, this is the book we're going to start reading. And so I started doing my research, and I started reading. And the first thing the book said was, if you have high cholesterol, the first thing you need to do is you want to work on changing your nutrition. I was like, okay, I'm ready to do that. So what are we going to do? You got to eliminate saturated fats. I was like, saturated fats? What is that? I was like, all right. So now I go to the Oxford Dictionary. Okay? Y'all are ancient, okay? I'm ancient, huh? Go to the dictionary, I'm like, what is saturated fat? So I read about it, I'm like, okay, highlight. Then I go, it even tells you the kinds of fat it is. Then I come back to the book, then it lists all saturated fats. The next thing I do is I go into my pantry, and I'm like, all the saturated fats are there. And the first thing that comes to my mind is corn oil, because I used to buy the oils that sounded healthy. So I got sunflower oil, corn oil, canola oil. They sound good, they sound healthy. But this book is telling me saturated fats is what would cause high cholesterol. And that's now when I saw all these oils I had were terrible, that's when like something inside of me just like, okay, we gotta really figure this out. In the process of doing all that, one of the things that I did, I then found out that white foods are not good for you. What are white foods? Anything that is white flour. You guys, this thing was very new. A lot of you now have all this information, but for us, this was so new and was like, oh, eye-opening. And in fact, at some moment, I remember saying, I'm educated. How do I not know this information? I remember saying that. I've gone to college. How do I not know this information? As soon as I saw that, I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do radical. I'm just going to be radical with my transformation, and I'm going to completely change everything about my lifestyle. Remember, I've been given a timeline. Timeline, Susie. Timeline. He's given me 3 months, 90 days. Come back. So I come back. I come into the pantry, and I look at where is the saturated fats. All my corn oil, mazola oil, all those are the names, canola oil, I remove them all. Do you guys want I do? Sorry? I poured them. That's what I did. I know. Yeah, that's mindset. Can you see that, Susan? You see that? Oh. Because what are we doing? Wasting money. Yeah. Right? So there's some people who look at it and would say, let me finish it and then. My mindset was, I'm already not healthy. Why would I want to put things that I now know are not healthy into my body? Why not throw them out because I already know they're not healthy? That's the mindset. I guess that's a scarcity mindset, which I've just made the connection now based on thank you, Suzanne, thank you. Now, in Boston, we don't have people who help you with work. You do everything for yourself. You're the nanny, you're working, you're cleaning, you're cooking. You know, in Kenya, things are done. You know, we got people who help us with all these things, which is fantastic. So we have a lady, her name is Mama Dan. Do you know what Mama Dan's job is? Mama Dan's job is cooking chapos for Kenyans. That's her job. 1 chapo, $1. That unga flour, please, if you're going to Madru, learn how to make a good chapos. That unga was like $2 then. Out of that thing, you should get 20 chapos. Talking about finances and whatever. Mama Dan, you could literally, as soon as you're walking into like where she used to live, Bridge Street, there's a bridge, these homes in Lower, the town where I lived in, it's like an older town. So as soon as you're walking into her driveway, you could smell the chapos from a distance. That's what she did. And you buy them in packets of 20. So most people, it's like, because you don't want to keep going back, you buy 2 packets. Some people buy 10 packets, you just stock them in the freezer. So me, I used to buy in 2 packets. So I had 40 chapos in the freezer. I'm sure the first one I probably used some. So this whole time, I'm looking at I'm reading this work and they say white flour. Remember, I've now thrown the oils. Okay, then they say white flour is not good for you. I'm like, white flour. The chapos. Mama Dan's chapos. So me, I go in the freezer and I look at them. I have 2 packets there. And she also makes mandazis and samosas. I don't care much for mandazis and samosas, but chapo is like my thing, okay? So I go in there, I remove the chapos, and they're in a Ziploc bag. So I just throw them in the trash. But now, because I don't trust myself yet, there's a girl, I heard you say the word yet, and I liked that. Because I didn't trust myself yet, I took, you guys, please, no judgment. Safe space. I took soap. I poured it inside the chapos. I didn't trust myself. You remember, this is the first time, like I've been hit by this thing, but chapos, and you guys, I'll tell you my story on chapos, they really call me. So when I threw them in there must have been something that said you can't throw those things out. There must have been something, and that was like, no, pour soap. So I poured soap on them, threw them out. The next thing I did, I then walked in. Now, when I'd become pregnant, there's a thing I had started with my husband. Every Friday, our girls were born in Boston at Brigham and Women's Hospital. So when I used to go see my doctor there was a cafe. And that cafe had the best pastries. And so I had gotten into the habit, every time I would go there, buy a pastry. It was a marble cake. But this is, it's not a regular, I'm just telling you, it's not regular. And so once I would get it, I told Kamau, please be bringing this, because his office was now upstairs. So I used to tell him, come down on your way home, we're to Nilete, marble cake. He used to bring me that cake that was in the fridge. Trash. Because I was like, man, no. I see it's clogging my arteries. That's what's in my head, and I'm going to die of a heart attack. That's what I'm thinking. So that went in the trash. The next thing I had done is, in the process, remember I told you my husband is he's finance, he's in finance, and there's 2 different personalities. He calls it a bean counter, those ones who count the beans, and a free spender. Right? Those clash, right? So because of that, I was like, I had started now baking banana bread, pumpkin bread, and I had gotten this thing called corn chowder. It's maize, made with potatoes, bacon, butter, and I don't know what else was in there. That thing is, and it's delish. Like when I tell you, those things you eat, your everything, I can feel it. I had even found where the distributor of that was, and it was a mile from our house. On a not high street, what's the name of that? There's a Sanoco gas station. You take a right. I'm telling you, because that's where it was, and they're the ones who used to provide like all the hotels and the restaurants. So I'm not even buying wholesale, Susan. I mean, please be proud of me, because I'm doing my work, okay? And I stopped buying pumpkin bread and banana bread, and I started baking pumpkin bread and banana bread. Okay? So even as the doctors tell me I'm obese, I want you to see how my lifestyle looked like. In the morning, I'd wake up. I'd have tea and bread. Then I'm hungry. We were talking earlier. Then I got hungry. 2 hours later, I was like, let me get some pumpkin bread and some tea. Then, I'm still kind of hungry. So it's lunch hour. Let me have some rice, peas, and carrots. That was a very easy meal that I still love to this day. Rice, peas, and carrots. So I'd have that. Still kind of hungry because, you'll understand after when as I continue to coach. I'm like, 2 o'clock tea or my 4 o'clock tea. Either pumpkin bread or banana. I used to oscillate between those 2 with tea. The proper meal I used to have was dinner, which would be ugali with beef and sukuma, or I'd have chapo with stew, or I'd have rice with a stew. But dinner was this sort of solid meal. So when you hear me tell you that's how I used to eat, it is how I used to eat. So even when the doctors say me I have high cholesterol, because that's how I used to eat and that's what I used to do, and that's a lifestyle I lived. So as I'm cleaning up this whole thing, the next thing I say is, okay, now that I've cleaned this up, I've removed all the saturated fats and I have removed the white flour. What's the next thing I need to do? I need to bring fiber in. Fiber. And I was like, again, Oxford Dictionary, what is fiber? Then it says legumes. I'm like, what is legumes? I mean, it was that granular. And so I was like, all right, I need to bring more beans in the house. I need to bring more nuts. I need to bring more vegetables. And so after I cleaned the house, I then went to the store and I bought all those things. When I cleaned it, I remember looking at the pantry. I mean, there was tortilla chips. There's a picture, you guys. In fact, I'll show you that picture. Sharon, we should look for that picture. The one where I have the striped shirt. If you look at the fridge behind me, that was at home. There's tortilla chips. Because I used to stock it with those things. Because now, how many of us, especially as moms, when you're raising your children or you're doing your work, you get stressed out, right? And so you reach for those foods. And so this is what I want to show you guys. I'm painting this picture, and I'm taking time to paint this picture because I want to be able to show you where I was, and I also want to show you 20-something years later where I have been and where you can be. And I don't want you to make the same mistakes I made, because if you've heard this information, no, this is where God says it's on you. Because once you've been told and you make mistakes, let me tell you, Susan, I'm going to stay really close to you because I attended your event, the CEO Summit, and that thing was absolutely mind-changing for me and life-altering for me. So thank you. And the fact that even you're here, you're still reminding me some more things. I'm like, girl, So there's definitely something there. I made these changes. And so for me, if you've heard it, you don't do it, that's now on you. And the thing that I have found with a lot of women is the reason why we're not able to take the action is because of the gap. And it's because of what we see on the outside. We look at what Scholar and I were talking a little bit earlier today. And what we're talking about was we see pictures painted in magazines of women who look like they have the six-pack. FYI, they don't maintain that for long. A lot of them have terrible food issues with food. They have a terrible mindset with food. They have a terrible self-image. And because that has been pushed so much in the media, the average woman like you and I would be looking at these magazines because that's what's been pushed out. We're like, okay, I kind of want to look like that, right? I want to look like that. But when you really think about what they put themselves to go through to look like that, it's not sustainable. Forget for the average woman, even for majority of them. And I really want you to hear me on that, because most of them have now had a lot of issues with body image, food image, and just been completely convoluted about food and whatever. And a lot of people get nervous about eating foods. So when I saw that gap, I was like, and I needed to lose the weight. I'll tell you what I did, because what has worked for me is what now I coach my women to do. After changing all this information that the doctor told me to change, I started going to the YMCA in Lowell, Massachusetts. That's the Y. That was like one of the cheapest gyms. And it was cheap because, listen, my husband and I didn't have money then. We're like, we are trying to save. We're trying to save all our money, but we're also very intentional, because for us, education, personal development is important. Self-development is important. So we will invest in areas where we know we're going to get back. So when Susan tells us, invest in your education, if there's anything I could tell you, that's what you need to do. That's it. Y'all can see the tortilla chips up there. That's it. And you can see that's truly me with those tortilla chips over there. But investing in your education is the most important thing you can do for yourself. Because when you're in such conferences like you are today, what you do is, I'm telling you, you'll get one thing. That when I came for CEO, you have no idea what I've been doing. But I'm so proud, because honestly, it was like something unlocked. And even today, girl, I feel like you truly, your godsend. I feel like I want to cry. And I'll tell you why I want to cry. Because you've given me such a powerful word that's going to help me especially. Intentional spending plan. That's powerful. Because I think I have already seen the shift. So thank you, Susan. Thank you. Intention. And at what point do we we have to be intentional, and I need to change my language. So thank you, Susan, for that, because for me, that's a shift I needed. And I felt it there, and then I saw it. And I saw it because one of the gifts I believe God has given me is I see a problem, and it's almost like I can see where it's going to go. So thank you, Susan, for that.